Greetings, wanderers. Tonight, under the ancient canopy of Yggdrasil, let me spin you tales whispered in the winds. I am Hallbjorn, your guide through the 9 realms of Norse mythology. From Odin's wisdom to Loki's mischief. From the birth of worlds to the impending twilight that is Ragnarok. These are the stories etched in the stars. As we gather around this fire, may embers of these Norse tales kindle a flame of inspiration and curiosity in our hearts and our minds, forging a connection to the ancient sagas that will endure long after the last ember fades. The gods and the Jotunar are all in constant strife. It's actually far too dire and large of a conflict to call a simple war. But the first war ever fought was that between gods. It was fought between the Aesir and the Vanir. The Aesir were gods more so of civilization, stone, building. The Vanir were gods of fertility, agriculture, and nature. So evenly matched in combat and magic were these pantheons that the war raged on for many centuries and risked the destruction of the cosmos. Both decided to call it a truce, and it was then that hostages were exchanged, as is custom. The Vanir received Honir and Mimir. The Aesir received Njord, Freya, and Freyr. Even then, the peace did not hold. Mimir ended up beheaded in the Vanir's care due to a misunderstanding with Honir. Mimir's head was sent to Asgard, and before the fighting could start, Odin, in his wisdom, called another meeting. He then resurrected Mimir's head and kept him in a safe location where he could dispense knowledge as needed. All the gods at the meeting, before any more fighting could break out, spat into a cup. Magic was worked over it, and from this magic spawned Kvasir, the wisest human in all the 9 realms. He could answer any question with a satisfying response. Kvasir mitigated the peace between the Aesir and the Vanir, and then traveled the 9 realms dispensing knowledge and peace. One fateful day, Kvasir found himself in Svartalfheim, that land of the dwarves, where 2 more dwarves by the name of Fjalar and Galar heard about his presence and schemed to attain his knowledge for themselves. They tricked Kvasir. They killed him, drained his blood, and with it created Otororir, the Mead of Poetry, or the Stirrer of Inspiration. It was a mead that would give drinkers Kvasir's power of wisdom, knowledge, and inspiration. This Mead of Poetry would have stayed within the greedy dwarves' home if they had not drowned the Jotun Gilling along with his wife. Gilling's son, Sutung, came for revenge against the dwarves. Before Sutung could drown them himself, the dwarves appeased him and saved their hides by presenting the sacred brew. 3 vats were given to him. Othroder ended up in the heart of a great mountain by the name of Nitbjorg, where Suttung assigned his daughter, Gunnuld, to guard the mead. Odin, always in his relentless pursuit of wisdom, and hearing of the death of Kvasir and the creation of Thor with his blood, decided that the brew was far too dangerous to leave in Jotun hands, and he felt that he needed the power of the mead. He disguised himself as a traveling farmhand, and as this farmhand he came to the farm of Baugi, Suttung's brother. There he found 9 of Baugi's farmhands, each with scythes. He offered a whetstone to them that could sharpen a scythe in one stroke. He said that he would sell it to them, but they would pay a dire price. He threw the whetstone among the 9 farmhands, and trying to get at it, they all slayed each other with their own scythes. Under the name Bolverker, he came to Baugi's house, informed him of the death of his 9 farmhands, and also claiming that he could do the work of those farmhands, but only for a sip of Suttung's mead. Baugi, seemingly unfazed by the death of his 9 workers, informed Bolverker that Suttung did not share his mead, but would attain it for him if he could work for an entire season, and if the work of 9 could truly be done. Odin worked an entire growing season as this worker of misfortune. He fulfilled his side of the bargain with a grand harvest for Baugi. Baugi went to Suttung for some of the Mead of Poetry, and when Suttung refused, Bolverker, Odin, reminded Baugi of his end of the bargain. It was then that Bolverker and Baugi went to the Nitbjorg, and at the base of that great mountain, the disguised god produced an auger and told Baugi to drill into the mountain. Once Baugi broke through into the mead chamber, Odin thanked him, turned himself into a snake, and started to wriggle into the hole. Baugi, realizing what and who he was dealing with, tried to stab at the snake with the auger, but it was too late. Odin had already gotten in to the chamber. Odin disguised himself again as a charming man. He came to the daughter of Suttung, Gunnuld, who was guarding the mead. Winning her favor and charming her, she said that she would provide for him 3 sips of the glorious mead if he could spend 3 nights with her. After the 3rd night, developing a thirst, he went to the 3 large vats, and for each of his 3 sips, downed each vat in its entirety. With his prize in his throat, Odin transformed into the shape of an eagle and set off towards Asgard. Suttung, being told by the embarrassed Gunnuld of the theft of his mead, took the form of an eagle as well and took hot pursuit of the god. Before he could catch him, Odin spilled a little bit of mead over Midgard, lightening his load just enough to escape the clutches of Suttung to the safety of Asgard. Suttung going back to Jotunheim in shame. It was this spittle put upon Midgard that created all the bad poetry and songs, but on occasion, Odin will share from the guarded mead. bringing inspiration and wisdom to the receiving bard or skald, giving them the blood of Kvasir.